Hello, Views of the Future. Endragh here. We left off last time with Blind Hugh, who could totally see, who's a residential bigger of Ankh-Morpork, Pork, meeting up with a stranger with a black book who said hello. So that's where we're starting off. Sorry, I keep looking at my phone to make sure the timer's not on. So we're going to start up right where we left off. Boop, boop. Had to put time. Alright. What? Said Hugh. The man looked blank. Hello? He repeated rather louder than necessary, and so careful that Hugh could hear the vowels twinkling into place. Hello? Hello yourself, Hugh riposted. The stranger smiled wildly, fumbling yet again in the pouch. This time his hand came out holding a large gold coin. It was in fact slightly larger than an $8,000 Ankin crown, and the design on it was unfamiliar, but it spoke inside Hugh's mind in a language he understood perfectly. My current owner, it says, is in need of success and assistance. Why not give it to him, so you and me can go off somewhere and enjoy ourselves? Subtle changes in the beggar's position made the stranger feel more at ease. He consulted the small book again. I wish to be directed to a hotel, tavern, lodging, house, inn, hospice, something else that's like those words. Caravansary, he said. What, all of them? Said Hugh, taken aback. Question mark? Said the stranger. He's probably talking in a tongue, but I don't know how to do that. I don't want to insult anyone. Anyways, Hugh was aware that a small crowd of fishwives, shellfish diggers, and freelance gawpers were watching them with interest. Look, he said, I know a good tavern. Is that enough? He shuddered to think of a gold coin escaping from his life. He'd keep that one, even if you more confiscated all the rest. And the big chest that comprised most of the newcomer's luggage looked to be full of gold, Hugh decided. The four-eyed man looked up his book. I would like to be directed to a hotel, place of repose, tavern, yes, all right, come on then, said Hugh, hurriedly. He picked up one of the bundles and walked away quickly. The stranger, after a moment's hesitation, strolled after him. A train of thought shunted its way through Hugh's mind. Getting the newcomer to the broken drum so easily was a stroke of luck, no doubt of it, and Moore would probably reward him. But for all his new acquaintance's mildness, there was something about him that made Hugh uneasy, and for the life of him, he couldn't figure out what it was. Not the two extra eyes, odd though they were. Okay, I'm gonna quickly fix this because I don't think they're gonna mention it, but yeah, he's wearing glasses. That's the extra two eyes. He's wearing glasses. It probably comes up, but I'm just saying that now. There was something else. He glanced back. The little man was ambling along in the middle of the street, looking around him with an expression of keen interest. Something else Hugh saw nearly made him gibber. The best thing ever. The massive wooden chest, which he had last seen resting solidly on the quarry side, was following on its master's heels with a gentle rocking gait. Slowly, in case a sudden movement of his part might break his fragile control over his own legs, Hugh bent slightly so that he could see under the chest. There were lots and lots of little legs. Very deliberately, Hugh turned around and walked very carefully towards the broken drum. Yes, I love the luggage. It's so cute. And I know, it's weird to say a piece of furniture is cute, but you'll see. Odd, said Moore. He had this big wooden chest, added Cripplewa. He'd have to be a merchant or a spy, said Moore. He pulled a scrap of meat from the cutlet in his hand and tossed it into the air. It hadn't reached the zenith of its arc before a black shape detached itself from the shadows in the corner of the room and swooped down, taking the morsel in midair. A merchant or a spy, repeated Moore. I prefer a spy. A spy pays for himself twice, because there's always the reward when you turn him in. What do you think, Withal? Opposite Moore, the second greatest thief in Ankh-Morpork, Pork, half closed his one eye. Opposite Moore, the second greatest thief in Ankh-Morpork, Pork, half closed his one eye and shrugged. I've checked on the ship, he said. It's a freelance trader. Does the occasional run to the Brown Islands. People there are just savages. They don't understand about spies, and I expect they eat merchants. He looks a bit like a merchant, volunteered Wah, except he wasn't fat. There was a flutter of wings at the window. Ymor shifted his bulk out of the chair and crossed the room, coming back with a large raven. After he unfastened the message capsule from its leg, it flew up to join its fellow lurking among the rafters. Withel regarded it without love. Ymor's ravens were notoriously loyal to their master, to the extent that Withel's one attempt to promote himself to the rank of greatest thief in Inkamorpork had cost their master's right-hand man his left eye, but not his life, however. Ymor never grudged a man his ambitions. B12, said Ymor, tossing the little palette aside and unrolling the tiny scroll within. Goria the cat, said Withel automatically, on station up in the gong tower at the Temple of Small Gods. He said Hugh has taken our stranger to the broken drum. Well, that's good enough. Boardman is a friend of ours, isn't he? Aye, said Withel, if he knows what's good for trade. Amongst his customers has been your man Gorin, said Ymor pleasantly, for he writes here about a box on legs, if I read the scroll correctly. He looked at Wither over the top of the paper. Withal looked away. Among his customers has been... Oh, okay. What I was saying in that sentence, I just horribly mangled. Among his customers has been your man Grimorn, for he writes it here about a box on legs. So they're saying he was drunk or under, some drug, and so he saw a box on legs. Withel looked away. He will be disciplined, he said flatly. Weil looked at the man leaning back in his chair, his black-clad frame resting as nonchalant as a Rimlander puma on a jungular beach, and decided that Gorin, atop Small God Temple, would soon be joining those little deities in the multifold dimensions of beyond, and he owed Wah 3 copper pieces. Ymor crumpled the note and tossed it into a corner. I think we'll wander along to the drum later, Withel. Perhaps we may try this beer that your men find so tempting. Withal said nothing. Being Ymor's right-hand man was like being gently flogged to death with scented bootlaces. I love his descriptions, by the way. The twin cities of Ankh-Morpork, foremost of all the cities bounding the Circle Sea, was, as a matter of course, the home of a large number of thief guilds, syndicates, and similar organizations. And this was one of the reasons for its wealth. Most of the humble folk on the Windershin side of the river in Morpork's many mazy alleys supplemented their meager income by filling some small role for one or other of the competing gangs. So it was that by the time Hugh and Twoflower entered the courtyard of the Broken Drum, the leader of a number of them were aware that someone had arrived in the city who appeared to have much treasure. Some reports from the most observant spies included details about a box that told the stranger I read that wrong. Some reports from the more observant spies include details about a book that told the stranger what to say and a box that walked by itself. Those facts were immediately discontinued. No magician capable of such enchantments ever came within a mile of Morpork's docks. It still being a mile of Morpork's docks. It still being that hour when most of the city was just rising or about to go to bed, there were few people in the drum to watch Twoflower descend the stairs. When the luggage appeared behind him and started to lurch confidently down the steps, the customers at the rough wooden tables, as one man, looked suspiciously at their drinks. I love that line. Boardman was browbeating the small troll who swept the bar with when the trio walked past him. What in the hell's that? He said. Just don't talk about it, hissed Hugh. Twoflower was already thumbing through his book. What's he doing? Said Broadman, arms akimbo. It tells him what to say. I know it sounds ridiculous, muttered Hugh. How can a book tell a man what to say? I wish for an accommodation. Oh, sorry. This is too far again. I wish for an accommodation, a room, lodging, the lodging house, full board. Are your rooms clean? A room with a view. What is your rate for one night? Said Twoflower in one breath. Boardman looked at Hugh. The beggar shrugged. He's got plenty of money, he said. Tell him it's 3 copper pieces, then. And that thing will have to go in the stable. Question mark? Said the stranger. Boardman held up 3 thick red fingers, and the man's face was suddenly a sunny display of comprehension. He reached into his pouch and laid 3 large gold pieces in Boardman's palm. Boardman stared at them. They represented about 4 times the worth of the broken drum, staff included. He looked at Hugh. There was no help there. He looked at the stranger. He swallowed. Yes, he said in an unnaturally high voice. And then there's meals, of course. You understand, yes? Food? You eat? No? He made the appropriate motions. Foot? Said the little man. Yes, the broad man, beginning to sweat. Have a look in your little book. I should. The man opened the book and ran a finger down one page. Boardman, who could read after a fashion, peered over the top of the volume. What he saw made no sense. Food, said the stranger. Yes, cutlets, hash, chop, stew, reganol, fiesca, mince, collapse, souffle, dumpling, blancmange, sorbet, gruel, sausage, not to have a sausage, beans, without a bean, kimshaw, jelly, jam, giblets. He beamed at Boardman. All that, said the innkeeper wearily. It's just the way he talks, said Hugh. Don't ask me why, he just does. I gotta adjust myself. All eyes in the room were watching the stranger, except for a pair belonging to Rincewind the wizard, who was sitting in the darkest corner nursing a mug of very small beer. He was watching the luggage. Watch Rincewind. Okay, sorry. He was watching the luggage. Watch Rincewind. So, yeah. Look at him, scrawny, like most wizards, and clad in a dark red robe on which a few mystical signals were embroidered in tarnished sequins. Some might have taken him for a mere apprentice enchantress who had run away from his master out of defiance, boredom, fear, and a lingering taste for heterosexuality. Yet around his neck was a chain bearing the bronze octagon that marked him as an alumni of the Unseen University, the High School of Magic, whose time and space transcendent campus is never precisely here or there. Graduates were usually destined for mageship at least, but Rincewind, after an unfortunate event, had left knowing only one spell and making a living of sorts around the town by capitalizing on an inane gift for languages. He avoided work as a rule, but had a quickness of wit that put his acquaintances in mind of a bright rodent. He avoided work as a rule, but had a quickness of wit that put his acquaintances in mind of a bright rodent, and he knew sapine pierwood when he saw it. He was seeing it now, and didn't quite believe it. An archmage, by dint of great effort and much expenditude of time, might eventually obtain a small staff, made from the timber of the sapient pear tree. It grows only on the site of ancient magic. There were probably no more than 2 such staffs in all the cities of the Great Sea. A large chest of it? Rincewind tried to work it out, and decided that even if the box was crammed with star pearls and sticks of auritium, the contents would not be worth 1/10 of the price of the container. A vein started to throb in his forehead. He started up and made his way to the trio. May I be of assistance? He ventured. Shove off, Rincewind, snarled Boardman. I only thought it might be useful to address this gentleman in his own tongue, said the wizard gently. He's doing all right on his own, said the innkeeper, but took a few steps backwards. Rincewind smiled politely at the stranger and tried a few words of Cimmerian. He prided himself on his fluency in the tongue, but the stranger only looked amused. It won't work, said Hugh knowledgeably. It's the book, you see. It tells him what to say. Magic. Rincewind switched to High Borgirian, to Van Glunish, Stuman, and even Black Oruvian, a language with no nouns and only one adjective, which is obscene. Obscene. Each was met with polite incomprehension. In desperation, he tried heathen Traub, and the little man's face split into a delightful grin. At last, he said, my good sir, this is remarkable. Although in Traub the last word in fact became a thing which may happen but once in the usable lifetime of a cannon hollowed a thing which may happen but once in the usable lifetime of a canoe hollowed diligently by axe and fire from the tallest diamond wood tree that grows in the notable diamond wood forest on the lower slopes of Mount Alloway, home of the fire gods, or so it is said. What was all that? So yeah, like, the remarkable is like a sentence. So, what was all that? Said Boardman suspiciously. What did the innkeeper said the little man. Rincewind swallowed. Boardman, he said, 2 mugs of your best ale, please. You can understand him? Oh, sure. Tell him he's very welcome. Tell him breakfast is, 1 gold piece. For a moment, Boardman's face looked as though some vast internal struggle was going on. And then he added, with a burst of generosity, I'll throw in yours, too. Stranger, said Rincewind levelly, if you stay here, you will be knifed or poisoned by nightfall. But don't stop smiling, or so will I. Oh, come now, said the stranger, looking around. This looks like a delightful place. A genuine Porkian tavern. I've heard so much about them, you know. All those quaint old beings, and so reasonable, too. Rincewind glanced around quickly, in case some leakage of enchantment from the magician's quarters across the river had momentarily transported them to some other place. No, this is still the interior of the Drum, its walls stained with smoke, its floors a compost of old rushes and nameless beetles, its sour beer not so much purchase of merely hired for a while. He tried to fit the image around the word quaint, or rather the nearest Traub equivalent, which was the pleasant oddity of design found in the little coral house of the sponge-eating pigments on the Orhorian Peninsula. Sorry, I have to straighten out my leg. His mind reeled back from the effort. The visitor went on, My name is Twoflower, and extended his hand. Instinctively, the other 3 looked down to see if there was a coin in it. Pleased to meet you, said Rincewind. I'm Rincewind. Look, I wasn't joking. This is a tough place. Good, exactly what I wanted. Huh? What is this stuff in the mug? This? Beer. Thanks, Boardman. Yes, beer, you know. Beer. Ah, the so typical drink. A small gold piece will be sufficient payment, do you think? I do not want to cause offense. It was already half out of his purse. Yurt, choked Rincewind. I mean, no, it won't cause offense. Good. You say this is a tough place? Frequented, you mean, by heroes and men of adventure? Rincewind considered this. Yes, he managed. Excellent. I would like to meet some. An explanation occurred to the wizard. Ah, he said, you've come to hire mercenaries. Warriors who fight for the tribe with most milk-nut meal. Oh, no, I just want to meet them, so that when I get home, I can say that I did it. Rincewind thought that a meeting with most of the Drum's clientele would mean that Twoflower never went home again, unless he lived downriver and happened to float past. Where is your home? He inquired. Boardman, who slipped away into some back room, he noticed. He was watching them suspiciously from a nearby table. Have you heard of the city of Best Plagrick? Well, I don't spend much time in Traub. I was just passing through, you know. Oh, it's not in Traub. I speak Traub because there are many Traubal soldiers in our ports. Best Plagrick is the major seaport of the Arginian Empire. Never heard of it, I'm afraid. Twoflower raised his eyebrow. No, it's quite big, you see. Big? You sailed turnwise from the Brown Islands for about a week, and there it is. Are you all right? He hurried around the table and patted the wizard on the back. Rincewind choked on his... something popped up on my computer. Rincewind choked on his beer. The counterweight continent. So yeah, there's like... Somehow in this world, there's one area that's the main world, and it's on the back of the elephants, which are on the back of a tune, and it's just going around. But then somehow, there's another world that's also moving, that isn't on the back of an elephant somehow, but still exists. I don't think it's ever explained, but it might have been, and I might have missed it. So yeah, that's where he's come from. It's from another continent that supposedly doesn't exist because it doesn't have an elephant or a back or a turtle. And yeah. The three streets away, an old man dropped a coin into a saucer of acid and swirled it gently. Broadman waited impatiently. Ill at ease in a room made noisy some by vats and bubbling beakers, and lined with shelves containing shadowy shapes suggestive of skulls and stuffed impossibilities. Well, he demanded, one cannot hurry these things, said the old alchemist peevishly. Assessing takes time. Ah, he prodded the saucer, where the coin now lay in a swirl of green color. He made some calculations on a scrap of parchment. Exceptionally interesting, he said at last. Is it genuine? Genuine. The old man bruised his lips. I'll finish this paragraph. It depends on how you define the term, he said. If you mean, is this coin the same as, say, a $50 piece, then the answer is no. That's how we're going to end it. Ooh. Is this coin real? Is it coin fake? Who knows? Well, I do because I have the book here. But you don't know until tomorrow. So now our two main characters, Twoflower and Rincewind, have met each other. Yay! And you met the Luggage, which I really like. So of this series, Rincewind is definitely my favorite character, and I love him just because of him. And I don't want to go into much of his character because I don't want to spoil anything. And I have that slight problem where I don't, since I've read them all, I know everything that happens to him. So I can't say too much. But yeah, I really like Rincewind. He's my favorite character. But yeah, so that was the second part of Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. Continuing more with tomorrow. Yeah, I was going to say next week, but it's not next week. Anyways, I have been Endragh. I'll provide a smile to your face, and I will see you tomorrow. Night, night, guys. Sweet dreams.